right, welcome back to LWN Network tonight, folks. We are live, and we are going to do a live show tonight with live call-ins, Tammy. And
Yes, we are.
We're going to talk about something that has been on everybody's brain, everybody's radar. Everybody's talking about it. I got an echo here, too. I'm glad we got a producer tonight. I got a little bit of an echo for some reason. So anyway, we're going to be talking about Epstein, Trump, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino. Are they lying? Are they covering up? What's your thoughts? We're going to take live call-ins. So anybody who wants to call in tonight, give us your opinion on that. Would love to have it. What's your perspective? Because there's a lot of them out there, Tammy. A lot of people talking about it. Some of them not so favorable.
The majority not favorable at all, actually. And now it's almost divisive where they're saying, okay, you people that were MAGA, they're splitting MAGA in half because some people are saying, I'm never voting again. I'm not backing Trump anymore. And then other people are saying, hold the course. So it is very divided out there, even more so than it was before, because now it's our own party being divided.
Yeah, that's not good. It's very concerning to me that whatever you did there, producer, I still got just a little bit for some reason. It's definitely something that I can see dividing the party and the party line. And, you know, I have my own opinion. I have my own perspective of what's going on or what could be going on, or at least more than anything, how I feel about it. So it's something that we're going to get to talk about tonight. And everybody's welcome. We are reading the chat. We'll try to keep up on the chat. We will drop the number here for too long so you guys can call in and give us what you think is going on, or if you're upset about it, if you're okay about it, if you think that everything's going as planned. I don't think it's going as planned by any stretch of the means.
Well, I keep having a toss-up because I tell you all the time I'm very optimistic and hopeful, but I don't want to feel like I'm being pulled by the nose any longer either. So that's how I feel. I feel very let down by not just Trump, the administration, because when we talk about how Trump reacted at his cabinet meeting when he was asked the question, what about the Epstein files? And he simply stated in an angry way, I can't believe you're talking about it. Are we still talking about that creep? And he said, we have this and this going on. Now, not to demine or take away from everything that good that is going on, because we can talk about that as well, but for Trump to respond that way was very abrasive and abrupt. And we all know, we've all seen the videos of everybody saying and making all the promises of all that information coming out and going to be exposed. Trump ran on that. So, of course, people are extremely disappointed.
I know when I watched that live the other day, or a few minutes after it was live, Trump looked tired, and you don't see him tired very often. He looked he looked like he had a little bit of frustration. I was disappointed when he made those comments that, hey, why are we even talking about this anymore? He kind of just brushed it off like it doesn't matter. We're closing the case over. I would have to say probably a good 80% of the MAGA Republicans don't believe that this case should be closed. Like, it's not over, and they want to know why, Tammy.
Well, also coming out, Bill O'Reilly, not a big fan of him. I was for a while, and then I lost interest, and he's kind of abrasive and all the stuff that came out about him. But he was recently on speaking with one of the shows. It was with Chris Como, whatever show it is that he has, and he wanted to say this about President Trump, that he spoke directly to him. He said man to man, eye to eye on St. Patrick's Day about it. And this is the what Bill O'Reilly claims President Trump told him. And he said there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with the Epstein conduct. He said maybe they had lunch with him, maybe they had a correspondence with him, one thing or another. But those people would be destroyed because they're not going to be any context in the media. They're not going to care. If we just want a list of names without the details, they're going to be destroyed. So basically, you can't destroy a human being by putting out the files, whatever they may be. So that is supposedly what O'Reilly said Trump told him. Now, I don't know about that, but interestingly, Barron Trump's good friend, Bo Ludin, also did repost that little part of the interview with Bill O'Reilly, almost verifying, yes, this this is why Trump didn't do it. So why Trump or somebody in his administration wouldn't just come out and say that is beyond me, because he knows how untrusting we are of the government and all the hope that we've had in him. This is why we voted him in. I voted for the man 3 times. And people make mistakes, of course, but he's very calculated. So for him to say that the way he did kind of really threw me off. I mean, I know I talked to you about it, and I said, that's it. I'm so frustrated. I've had it.
Let me ask everybody watching tonight and in chat. This is the beginning of the show. We're going to take live calls. We're going to show an Epstein list that was just put out on X just a little while ago. Barron Trump's account. So we're going to show that. And one other thing real quick before I forget, because we're already getting wound up, and there was an announcement that we wanted to make at the beginning. So Tammy is finally, well, I shouldn't say finally, like we were waiting on her with all the stuff going on with my own personal Facebook account being hacked and LWN Facebook being hacked. Tammy was able to start a new one for us. So basically, she took her Tammy Nation one and changed the name. So we want to show that tonight real quick. Mm-hmm. And if you guys can do us a huge favor, if you'd like to follow us over there on Facebook, we need another like 20 subscribers over there before we can go live on Facebook. But here is our LWN Network Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the mods could grab the link off of Facebook and then drop that in the chat so that you guys, if nobody... if anybody here hasn't subscribed yet, we need 13 more, it looks like, and then we can go live on YouTube. So if you guys can look at that for us tonight, I would surely appreciate it. And then I just lost my train of thought, Tammy. Help.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. While you gather that, also, you guys look here. We have all the different links to our X accounts, as well as YouTube, Rumble, and Truth Social. That's as many as we can put on there. So if you guys go ahead and like and follow that, anytime we go live and you don't want it on Facebook or whatever, if you want to go somewhere else or it's easier, if you want to catch up with us on X, you can go right here to all these different links that we put in here, so you're able to do that. And like I said, we've been keeping up, even though we haven't been on air much because of different things going on behind the scenes along with our personal lives as well. But we've been trying to keep up by posting this kind of stuff on here. Even if we don't comment right away, we just want to make sure that you have the information. And as we get into the Epstein list, let's not forget about this. Who's he shaking hands with here, Epstein? You know, let's not forget these other people that were amongst Epstein and friends with Epstein. Also, real quick, if LW's got his train of thought back, we'll give him a couple more seconds. He got another year older, you guys, so he's a little bit slower than he used to be when we first started. But this is a really, really good interview, if you guys can catch it. Now, I was upset with Trucker.
That was a great
Did you like
interview.
it?
I listened to the whole thing. It's a really great interview.
Yeah, so I wasn't happy with Trucker for a while. I think a lot of people weren't, because he was coming at Trump against about Iran and stuff like that, and Israel and being on their side. But this interview gives you an in-depth idea of what is going on. And this guy here, he's just very intelligent. He's super intelligent. He was part of the press corps, but he went out on his own. And you're going to find not just about Epstein and everything else. He's going to tell you what really goes behind the scenes with the media, because that is a big deal. They are all basically part of, you know, the same kind of people. Like, they all have the same network of people, so they all basically have to say the certain things a certain way, not talk about people a certain way. You're going to find all that out about him, and it's going to give you a wide range of perspective and knowledge that maybe you wouldn't have had before and otherwise. So I highly recommend it.
Thank you for that, Tammy. Here is what I wanted to ask before we get any further in the show tonight, especially when we drop the number for you guys to call in and look at the Epstein list that is showing on X right now, is how many of you right now, before we go any further, put a 1 in chat if you believe that the truth is not being told right now about the Epstein list. Now, you can be on the side of they're all lying, only maybe some of them are lying. I really don't care. What do you think right now, at this moment in time? Do you believe that there's a cover-up going on the Epstein list? And do you believe that there are people involved that are really trying to cover that up? And could it be Donald Trump? I don't know. Could it be Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, and Pam Bondi? Maybe. Could it just be Pam Bondi? But what do you guys really think about that? And just put a 1 there in chat if you guys think that there's any type of cover-up going on right now.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what people's opinions are for sure.
There's a couple of 1s in there already, so just curious of what people think at this moment in time. Right now, are they lying? Are they covering up? Because, I've been going back and forth on this all week, Tammy, with you. Been having conversations with guys at work about this, and some of them totally trust Dan Bongino. And so basically whatever Dan Bongino is saying, they trust him. They trust that he's telling the truth. And I was in that camp too, pretty strong camp. I felt like he's a man of integrity. He's a man that will always tell the truth and do what's right. I really felt that about Dan Bongino, but I've got this really queasy feeling in my stomach when we're talking about the Epstein list and what's going on, and are they really telling the truth and everything. It's I don't know. It's definitely super frustrating to try to filter through all the bullshit and figure out what is truth and what is not.
Well, when Pam Bondi came out at the cabinet meeting and she answered about the Epstein list, and she kind of backpedaled. She basically said, you know what, I wasn't talking about names on a list. I was telling you when I said it's on my desk, it was all the files I was getting ready to review. Then she further doubled down on that by saying, there is a minute in that video that is missing, but the minute, we're going to investigate it and look, because there's a minute every single night that when they switch cameras or something, that there's a minute gone, and it should coincide with every single other day. And so now, because remember, when we were first told, Jim Comey's daughter, Maureen, did report that the video of Epstein's cell on the night of his murder was lost and then found. So there's a lot of information that I think we've forgotten, or the details of what people have said. And now we're basically, all these years later, looking into, okay, well, we know Pam Bondi said this, and Cash said this, and Dan said this. We talked about Dan Bongino being on his radio show saying we have to investigate, we have to find everything. That's what we're going to do. We have to have transparency. Everything we wanted to hear, basically, is what Dan Bongino has said. Now, he gets in there along with Cash, and all of a sudden, this is happening and this is going on. There's no cohesiveness other than trying to make us feel like we didn't understand what they were saying in the first place, when there's video of them from their own mouths out there that we can look into. And that's wherein the problem lies. Now, when we say, well, it's for protection, it's for this or this for that, why would they even say it in the first place then? Why not say, hey, be cohesive and say, we're investigating it, you guys, there's a lot to uncover here. We don't have any information to give you yet, but that's not what they did. Remember the so-called truthers that, like DC Drano and a couple of them, that were outside holding the packets and binders of information that was supposed to be so explosive, and nothing came of that. Like, why make all this pageantry about it and it to be a big nothing burger and now backpedal? So there is reason for us to feel upset. And I'm done with the mind games of trying to say, well, he's playing chess, he's doing it this way because of this way, because of that. That just keeps us kind of screwed up in the head. And there's no reason for that anymore, I don't think. They could have just shut up about it and, like I said, been cohesive and not put anything out there. But they did a lot of pageantry about it already.
Well, there's people I work with that feel like Pam Bondi is to blame, that she said way too much at the very get-go of things, and that she really made an ass out of herself. And I said, well, what about her saying that there was thousands of victims, hundreds of victims, and thousands of videos and all this stuff? And they're under the belief that everything that happened on that island was Maxwell and Epstein, that they acted alone. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you're shitting me, right? Like you really believe that everybody that went to that island went there and sat on the beach, had a couple of cocktails, got on the plane and flew home, that they didn't do any of the stuff that the allegations are saying right now, that we've been listening to for years. And that's kind of the split right there. They want to trust Trump. They want to trust Bongino. They trust Patel, and they think that that Bondi basically screwed herself over by saying that stuff. But yet we were told for years that there is a client list and that there is video and that those things did happen. And with the exception of us actually sitting and watching the horrible videos, which I don't want no part of, how are we supposed to know for sure, Tammy? I guess is my question.
Right, and we were told there were at least 1,000 underage women that were abused, sexually abused, to put it mildly. And it's not that.
And so here's the argument to that. That only 2 came forward, and the 2 that came forward only implicated Maxwell and Epstein. They did implicate a couple of other people, but then recanted. So if that is the case, then that's how they feel that it is only and solely on Maxwell and Epstein that did any sexual destruction to any of those kids or those women or any of that stuff, that the other players, the other names on the list had nothing to do with it.
Well, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail then? I mean, she's found guilty.
And that's the great part about that interview that you were talking about, because Tucker Carlson and the other gentlemen were laughing and said, I guess we owe Epstein an apology, because he was incarcerated. He ended up killing himself after 36 days in prison. For what charges, really? For what charges? Of course, again, the people that side with Bongino and Trump are saying because they were the ones that did all of the abuse. And I see that our brother John is there in chat putting comments in there. And there is talk about Epstein being a CIA operative, and that he was deep into Israel and gun smuggling and all kinds of other stuff. So here's my frustration. I don't think we're ever going to know the truth, to be honest with you. I think our government is so corrupt that this is just the norm. It's always going to be the norm, and we're pretty much just going to have to swallow these hard pills and move forward in life.
Well, it is true, the saying that if Trump would have been on the list, and that's what I said as part of
let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Because there are people that are saying, they're not going to release anything because Trump's name is on that list. For a fact, there's no freaking way that if Trump's name was on that list or they had video of him doing anything, that he'd be president right now, because they would have 1,000% used that against him, not only in 2020, but they would have used it against him in 2024 too. So I don't believe for one second that Trump had anything to do with any of the stuff on the island to be implicated in anything. Now, did he have lunch with Epstein? There's pictures of him obviously at a party and stuff. So yeah, he was connected to Epstein on some level. What level that is, I don't know, obviously, but yeah, there's no way, in my opinion, that he had anything to do with that stuff.
Well, and Trump did say that he did go there, obviously, on the plane, but he wasn't involved on the island and stuff. And it is true. Just because your name is associated with Epstein doesn't necessarily mean you did anything. So I understand that part. But also, I was thinking about this, too, because we think Epstein is the big wig guy. And I had this conversation with you the other day. And I said, the only other way for me to understand it is maybe Epstein was only in Ghislaine, we're only the facilitators of this. He's not the big guy we think he is. That actually the big guy or the big corporation or whoever are way above Epstein, and they're the ones that have the list, the blackmail tapes, because you're not going to have a list of just names and so was here and did this with this person. It's going to be tapes. It's going to be maybe audio stuff. And a lot of times you can stop and think, well, you know what, that stuff is probably long gone by now once Epstein was gone. But why why would Epstein take himself out if he's not guilty of anything and there's nothing going on? So I personally think that it's a lot bigger and higher than Epstein. We keep thinking Epstein is the main guy. I don't believe that. I think it's even higher than that, because remember, this is international. This isn't just the U.S. This goes with Israel. Potentially, this goes with Saudi Arabia, and it goes on and on. It's all across, from the highest levels, the richest multi-billionaires, down to local. Okay, so it's way bigger than I think that we imagine. So I think that, with that being said, if there's any kind of takedown happening, it's going to, how do you do that? Because there's so many people involved. Like, how do you fix that? How do you fix that? And it's just becomes so overwhelming to me. I don't know.
Well, I don't think you can fix it, in my opinion. But we're going to drop the number here in just a minute and give you guys an opportunity. Anybody wants to call in, give us your thoughts, your opinions, your perspective. If you're mad, if you still support Trump and Dan Bongino, or if you don't, would like to hear from you guys here in just a moment. But you said a lot of stuff there, Tammy, and I'm going to ask. I've asked this question before. It's a fun question to ask. I'm going to ask again to all the chat. Put a 1 in chat if you guys believe that Epstein is still alive, because I have thought that is possible, especially with the tape issue, camera angles. I just don't think that Epstein... I don't believe that Epstein would kill himself, me personally. Now, I listened to his brother on CNN with Como, and his brother even said, Jeff did not kill himself. Like, that's just not... That wasn't something that was in his tool bag to do. And so, that doesn't mean that he did or he didn't. I'm just saying his own family member says that he doesn't believe that Jeff or Epstein killed himself. So I'd just like to see how many people think that he is still alive, because I believe it's possible. For sure.
I do too.
What do you think, Tammy?
I do too. I think that if anything good is going on with the takedown, which, like I said, I'm optimistic and hopeful that it is, that it would make sense for him to be alive and them getting all the information over time from him. And either that, or they're saving him or hiding him, or whoever it is. I like to believe that good wins over evil, and my heart goes out to the victims. They've been waiting for so long. They've endured so many things. Some of them still aren't around anymore, but justice needs to be served. Now, what gives me hope with that also is they have been breaking up a lot of sex trafficking rings left and right. It's been going like crazy. There was just another one the other day, I think in Texas or something, with 300 and some people. It was incredibly amazing. So that makes me think that they really are working on it. They're trying to take them down, and I'm hoping that it's true. But now you throw another wrench into this so-called sexual situation system. What's the deal with P. Diddy getting off on all the major counts and only being found guilty of the 2 lesser charges, which is a whole sex trafficking ring as well? So that makes us have pause as well. Now, the judge did keep him in jail. He didn't let him out on bond, but still, it's kind of crazy when you put it all together.
Absolutely. We got Jeff B with us tonight. I'd like to welcome Jeff to the show. We're going to put the number up here. Producer can go ahead and just put the number up on screen if they'd like to do that. I just think, I still believe that if you believe that Dan Bongino is still telling the truth, and Dan Bongino is a man of integrity, then I'm still in the camp that him, Kash Patel, and even Donald Trump seen more than they wanted to see, and they just know that it's so massive they can't take it down, and so that's why they're moving on with this whole thing. I still believe that that's a possibility, so I'd like to get Jeff's opinion on that. Welcome to the show, Jeff. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff.
Good yourself. Hey. So did you guys hear Alan Dershowitz's comment after Trump made that statement?
No, enlighten us, Jeff.
Okay, so you knew that Dershowitz was part of Epstein's legal team.
Correct.
Well, Dershowitz come out and said there's 100% an Epstein list. Okay. Now, if I was Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, I'm filing for an immediate appeal. Because if they're saying there's not a list, why is my client sitting in jail?
Correct.
There you go.
Okay. Now, from what I was told earlier in the week, because I was pissed off at that statement that Trump made,
Everybody is.
and it didn't seem right. Well, so I text somebody and I said, "What are they hiding?" And the response was everything. Well,
It's too big.
well,
too
I
big.
thought, yeah. Well, that's what I thought. And so I said, "What do you mean by everything? All the big stuff they're hiding?" Well, he told me that there was a warrant being issued to the Northern District of New York where Giselle was tried at, because that's where everything is at. Because Jim Comey had all the stuff, all the big stuff transferred to the New York District courts. So they actually have to file for a warrant, which seems baffling in a sense, in order to get all those documents. Now, do I think Bongino, Cash, Trump are lying? No. I think that they're saying right now, what they're saying is to, I think, give them more time. And what I mean by give them more time is, I think a lot of these ICE raids that we're seeing going on is a lot more than ICE raids. Because you remember, they've come out and said 8 years ago that there was 100,000 sealed indictments. So if you use the immigration policy in order to get all these ICE agents, federal agents, to go do these raids, to me, it's even though they not saying that the ICE raids aren't going on, but I think it's a good cover for other raids to be happening, because shortly after Dershowitz put that statement out, Melinda Gates come out and made a statement that the whole reason she divorced Bill Gates was because of the Epstein list. And that statement was just made a few days ago.
You're right.
So everybody in that circle of people know that it exists.
Yeah. Tammy, why don't you go ahead and pull up that Bannon Trump X post with the list. We'll go down through the list. Jeff can look at the list too. He's probably already seen it. But anybody who wants to call in tonight, 620-317-1776. Anyone who wants to call in, I don't care what your opinion is, what your thoughts are. If you're upset, you think they're lying, you still trust them fully. If you agree with Jeff, agree with me, or agree with Tammy, or have your own opinion on what's going on, there's the number right there on screen. All you got to do is call in, and that number will bring you in, and we'll give you a couple of minutes here to make a statement or ask a question to Jeff or whatever you want to do. So here's the list, Tammy, and as you're going through it, we got John Connolly, Alan Dershowitz, Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Gore, Richard Bronson, Stephen Hawking. The print is so small. Michael Jackson, Marvin Minsky, Kevin Spacey. We knew that one. George Lucas, Normie Camel, Bruce Willis,
Heidi Klum. They got Bianca Janker in here.
Go ahead, read them, Tammy.
Okay, and then Jean-Luc Brunel, who is a French model agency boss, an alleged Epstein co-conspirator who died in apparent suicide while awaiting trial. And so here we are, we're covering fashion, We're covering acting. We're covering singing.
Even RFK Jr. is on that list.
Wow. Bill Richardson, former governor. So there we are. Cameron Diaz. Glenn Dubin. And now you don't know the name Glenn Dubin maybe, but he was an American hedge fund manager who was friends with Epstein. So that's what we mean. It comes across all social circles, social platforms, all different levels.
Keep scrolling, Tammy.
Okay. Tom Pritzker, he's an American tycoon and philanthropist. Chris
Bill
Tucker.
Gates.
Yep. Oh, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is right there.
Yep.
Yep. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York. Okay, we got Bella Klein, or Klen, documents differ, a former accountant in Epstein's New York office. So, of course, you need somebody to take care of the paperwork and the monies, right? The financials. So even if you don't just recognize a name, there's a method to the madness of all this. We've got Ron Oppenheimer, an alleged sex trafficker. Louis Freeh, former director of the FBI. And then we've got a celebrity hair stylist, Frederic Fekete. Alexandra Fekete, son of the celebrity hairstylist. We got Epstein's butler, Jojo Fontella. Doug Band, who is a longtime Bill Clinton aide, who says he urged Clinton to cut ties with Epstein. We got Prince Andrew, which we know about, right? We've got Roscoe, Maxwell's press agent. So don't forget, they have to have people to cover for them and protect, their visual perception with the public as well. Some of these other people that don't have descriptions, I don't know. We've got Sarah Kellen, which is Epstein's former assistant, named as an unindicted co-conspirator in his 2008 plea deal. Adrian Ross, which is Epstein's former assistant, named as an unindicted co-conspirator in his 2008 plea deal as well. We've got a Dr. Stephen Olson in here. We've got a bunch of other people. I don't know these names. I don't know if you guys would know them either. But Detective Joe Ricari is a former Palm Beach police officer who investigated reports of sexual abuse against children by Epstein. On the list, we've got a Chief Michael Reeder, responsible for investigation of sexual abuse against children by Epstein. And it just goes on and on and on here. The ex-personal assistant of Maxwell, Emmy Taylor, a butler, Alfredo Rodriguez, at Epstein's Florida home. So don't forget, you guys, the butlers, the housemaids, the cooks, the chefs, the people who drive people know a whole bunch of stuff, right? And these are all the people that were paid to keep quiet.
But let's be clear too. This list does not mean that they're implicated in anything either.
Right.
This is only a list that they had a connection to Epstein for whatever reason. Like it could have been a dinner party, it could have been a drink party, they could have went to the island, not went to the island. That I do not know, but again, Joe Biden is on there, Madonna's on there, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton is on there. Yeah. Some big names.
Yes, definitely. The Alfredo Rodriguez says Epstein's former household manager jailed in 2012 for hiding and trying to sell Epstein's black book. So that's the supposed list that came out. Now, this came out, like LW said, just a little bit ago on X, on the Barron the News X site. And it's supposedly a rogue hacker known only as Island Boy breached the protected internal media server and released the full Epstein associate list. Decades in the making of web names, secret, and suppressed testimony. Now, supposedly the files posted to a dark web archive at exactly 12 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I'm sorry. We got two callers. I'd like to get them real quick.
Sure.
Producer was trying to get my attention, and I wasn't paying attention. So let's go ahead and bring them in one at a time there, producer. All right. Welcome to LWN tonight. What is your name and where are you from? Hello, caller. You're on air.
I don't know. Did they open up me?
Oh, there you are. How you doing, Kathy?
And you know that voice.
I know that voice. How you doing tonight, Kathy?
I'm doing just fine. Several things. That list, we don't know where that one came from. I have a list, but I can't put it on Facebook. It was taken from a friend of mine from London. And he gave me the list and actually printed it out, but I can't put it on there.
Well,
Some of these
if you
people-
email it to me, can you email it to me? I'll share it
Yeah.
with Tammy.
I
We
can
can
email.
we can
I'll
read
email.
some of it.
I'll email it to you, and you can see it.
Okay.
Let's just kind of go back to the beginning. Number one, the base commander that was in charge of Epstein is on a small island off of Cuba, lives here in my county. I've talked to him. So Jeff Epstein is alive.
Yeah. Well,
Number two.
wouldn't shock me.
Nope, it doesn't shock me either. And he has disappeared. I've not been able to find him. So he's probably left the county because I think he was talking to people and he probably needed some space.
Okay. What's number
Retired
2?
Lieutenant Colonel. And I don't know whether Jeff knows who I'm talking about. Second thing of all is that I told everybody to give this 48 to 72 hours because it's going to come back around and it's going to straighten itself out.
Okay.
So everybody getting all up in a pucker over this was not particularly necessary because we know that thing exists and we know we cannot show those videos.
No, I wouldn't want to
I've
watch
seen
the videos.
frazzle drip. I know you can't show them.
Yeah.
I saw frazzle drip.
I wouldn't even
8
want to
years
look
ago.
at them myself privately, to be honest with you.
Oh God, you don't want to, Mike. I'm sorry, but you don't.
Yeah.
There's parts of that I can't get out of my head ever. But this is all going to work itself out. Now, the people that are on that list that Tammy's been reading, I believe those could have possibly been off his black book because he knew everybody.
Oh yeah, he was connected
And
to everybody.
Dershowitz was one of his attorneys. So, but he claimed that he was on the plane, but he was never on the island. And there's a lot of people that were never over there because that doesn't have an airstrip. You had to fly to the Virgin Islands and then take a boat.
Gotcha. Well,
And I don't
that
know
I
whether
didn't
the
know,
boat-
so thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
with us, Kathy.
Yeah.
So basically
Well-
what you're saying is, number one, you not only believe that he's still alive, but you feel like you know exactly where he's at through channels that you have. And number two, that list that we're talking about is not the full list. It's not all of it. And, those people are connected in some form, but that doesn't mean it's nefarious.
That's how I feel about it. I don't know how Jeff feels about it, but that's where I was when I saw that list on X.
Okay.
It didn't go along with the one that Bish sent to me from London.
Well, I appreciate it. Kathy, I want to move along here real quick because
Yep.
I got another caller, but thank you for calling in tonight, and call back again because we'll be back and we'll do another call-in show. Love having you calling in, and thank you for all your support, LWN Network.
Not a problem, always.
All right, thank you, Kathy. All right, we're going to bring in this next caller. Hopefully they're still there in the waiting room. Welcome to LWN tonight. What's your name? Where are you from?
Yeah, you talking to John Estabrook?
Oh, it's our brother John. Hell yeah. How you doing, John?
Well, I'm doing great, and I think the whole planet is, and I'll tell you, I'm an old history buff, and in the history of everything, you always have to go back into the original coup. And the original coup, and what we do know about the JFK assassination was what the last release and dump. There's all the ties to the CIA into the Mossad, Israeli intelligence. So that's the original coup. And we've lived under that coup d'etat. And right now, I still hold that the destruction of that coup d'etat is underway. So the Epstein deal, with everything that is out there and been put out, and this is something that you have to know, Mike. There's nothing that we can't search for and we can't find when we get into the web, and that includes the dark web. So Epstein was a sick puppy, but he was a captured operative for Mossad. You got to go back. Robert Maxwell,
Yep.
Ghislaine's daddy.
Yep.
Big publishing mogul, huh? billionaire, got the bucks, and he robbed the pensions of every son of a bitch that worked for him. But he worked with the Israeli intelligence. He worked with the Russian intelligence. He worked with our CIA. He was an operative. Jeffrey Epstein was a controlled operative. The mission was to fly sick people that you hoped in power, that you knew you could seduce or capture in one form or another, and be able to hold a string, to be able to pull that string when you need a play. Bribery, coercion. Well, when you get caught raping a child and they have the video of it, and for Pam Bondi to say something about the pornography and child pornography, nothing but child. Well, wait a while. If it's child pornography, is there an adult involved, and who is that adult? I want handcuffs on that son of a bitch today.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. What is it then? And think of the irony. Nothing happens by happenstance. So the same time that the Epstein released from Pam Bondi the 2-page little rhetoric, when that 2 pages is released, then we have a dinner and a sit-down supper with Bibi Netanyahu in the White House with Donald Trump. Now, who controls the CIA right now? Donald Trump. Johnny Radcliffe, I trust. Bibi Netanyahu, he controls the Mossad. And they all got caught with their hand, because if you think that they haven't covered every track, think about what they did and how long they carried out what we would find out about the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
50, 60 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this too, and then when you got to look behind, who always pulls the strings? Who controls the world, or did? I don't think they do any longer. But who controlled the world? And it was the central bankers, and it goes back to the Rothschilds, the satanic cult that came out of the Khazarian mafia, the Zionists, and Bibi Netanyahu is a Zionist. I'm not, listen, that's not anti-Semitic to say that Bibi's a Zionist, because if you're ignorant to what a Zionist is, they want a total place that is Israel, huh? And they gave them one little piece of earth, and look how much they've captured with all of the shit that they've done since they've been there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Zionist mentality, but that's the central bank's mentality too. They finance it all. And who's disrupting the central bank right now? Donald Trump. Donald John Trump.
So let me ask you this question,
script.
John.
It'll all have to come out, brother.
Do you believe that Epstein is still alive?
Very well could be. And listen, it wouldn't shock me either way, bro.
Yeah.
The one thing that I won't buy is the suicide.
Yeah.
He was either hit because he knew too much and was willing to sing, or they had to fear that he would sing, and they took him out.
Yeah.
Or they got him in custody. One or the other.
Yeah.
But he was a high-profile operative for both the Mossad and the CIA. So, hey, wherever he's at, he's under their control, my man. That's all you need to know about that. Epstein's just a name on a folder, because the bottom line is this was about capturing people of power and wealth and being able to control them, being able to control court justices. Chief Justice John Roberts, the fact that he got 2 children that was through a foreign adoption agency that was set up by Ghislaine Maxwell. Does anybody want to know that story? It's a small footnote into what Epstein Island was about. Capturing powerful men and powerful women that they need control over. They got to be able, when Trump gets out of line, if they had anything on Trump, trust me, that would have been dished a long time ago.
Yep.
They ain't got him.
Yep.
So forget all that. Anybody that even goes down that rabbit hole, pull your head out of the rabbit hole and look around you, because if they had that, because right now he's the most destructive force on the planet against the central banking system, that is the Federal Reserve, the Internal Revenue Service, and everything that happened since 1913, 1917 is being erased by Donald John Trump. Now, that's a fact. And all you have to do, look at crypto, what he's doing, the golden era. Just listen, the man.
I really appreciate you and Kathy calling in tonight, and I hope more people call in and give us their thoughts and their opinions. I surely have missed you, John and Kathy, both your voices and having you here on the show. So thanks for calling in tonight. I really appreciate it. Tammy, I sent you the Telegram link that Kathy put up there. So I don't know if you can share it or just read it or look through it, see if there's any material there that you'd like to share. But thanks for calling in tonight. I think we got I think that was it. So anybody wants to call in, 620-317-1776. We'd love to have you call in. Give us your thoughts, your opinions, what you think. Is Epstein still alive? Is he, I agree with John. One of two things happened. Either he's still alive and they got him somewhere else, or they took care of him. What do you think, Jeff B.?
Boy, there's a lot to unpack there in the last 15 minutes.
Right?
Well, I give you the floor, Jeff. It's all yours. Go ahead.
All right. So, Tammy, do you remember that picture? And I don't want you to say any names. That picture I sent you.
Yes.
From the White House.
Yes.
And the person that was in that picture.
Yes.
Okay. So I knew two other people that were not in that picture, but was in that room. All right. So when you talked about the list that you got, that was found on the dark web, what was the name? Island what?
Island Boy or something.
Island Boy. Yes, LW.
That hacked shit. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But Kathy, and I shared it with you too, Jeff. Kathy sent another list on Telegram, and I just shared it in a text with you and Tammy. So there's another list that Kathy was able to get.
Okay. Now I'm going to link two pieces of a puzzle together for you. Island
we
Boy.
love it when you do that, Jeff.
So you remember that there's a dead man switch.
Yep.
By who? John McAfee.
Yep, I remember.
Okay. John McAfee, one of his pseudos was Island Boy. Okay.
Stop it.
Really?
Stop it.
So there's a first link. So everyone's been waiting for the McAfee. This is part of it. Now, Alan Dershowitz was also legal counsel to McAfee.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Okay.
Gosh.
Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is in that fictitious board that seems to keep getting things right. There was a statement in there, save Israel for last, right?
Yep.
Why is it that no matter what Israel does, the United States backs them? Israel is the only country, the only ally that has ever attacked one of our ships, the USS Liberty.
I remember.
Okay, so it was a spy vessel, and Israel attacked it. Now, why are so many of our politicians dual citizens with the United States and Israel? So I think the whole thing, save Israel for last, is about ready to happen.
Holy
Because
Toledo.
the Knesset, I think, is the Knesset, Mossad, they're going to be exposed for exploiting our politicians, having something over their head in order for the Israeli government, not the people, the government, to give Israel whatever they want, whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
But
Dang.
the thing, the island boy, that's I'm pretty certain that's McAfee's dead man switch.
It's pretty wild.
Well, dang. Oh, go ahead.
I sent that to you, Tammy. I'm going to email it to you and Jeff.
I've got it up.
Okay, I'm doing it anyway. So that way it's in an email if you want to try to pull that up. Yeah, that's 116 pages undacted. I know I've seen that before somewhere. I just can't remember where I did see it.
There it is.
But I have seen that list before. It's a shitload of names
Look
on
at
there.
that.
When I looked at it the first time, I looked down through it. I'm like, holy shit! Take me forever to try to look down through it.
I'm going to try to zoom. There we go.
That's a lot.
Oh, okay, so yeah, so it gives the aircraft, the date, the number, the jet, where it departed from, where it arrived to, the flight number, and then it says, then there's the last name, first name. So obviously Epstein's on here. So yeah, you got Maxwell and Epstein. So yeah, this is an interesting freaking.
Well, Jeff brings up a
116
very
pages.
interesting point about the dead man switch. Number 620-317-1776. Anyone else would like to call in tonight and give us your thoughts on this and this Epstein list? Do you believe that anybody's lying? Is this a cover-up? Do you believe Epstein's still alive? Those are all the questions that we're asking tonight. And you can have any opinion you want. I really don't care. I just appreciate Tammy and Jeff joining me tonight.
Well, I'm going to say, Jeff, too, from what you put together and what you've said, and with what John has said, that actually helps ease my mind, because when you have information like you guys have, that helps us understand how big it is, and it gives us information that the average person doesn't get. And we do get fatigued, because you can ask LW, I'm like, I'm over it, I'm fatigued, I'm stepping away, I can't, my head's spinning, I'm so disappointed, and I'm usually not reactive like that. I mean, we've been in this for the long haul for many years, but when you don't have that information, it looks terrible. So yeah, the people that are watching us or listening to us will have this wonderful information from all of you. But what about the average American citizen who's like, on midterms, I'm not voting Republican, our party's splitting, people are freaking out? What do we do to mend that and help them? That's my concern, is they're going to get, the bad are going to end up winning, because people are just have had it.
I'm going to let Jeff respond.
Yeah, like I said, when I first heard his statement, I was pissed off. And so I texted the big chair and said, what the hell is your boy doing? And the response was, he's frustrated.
He looked frustrated. I could tell.
And I said, what is he frustrated with the people in charge of you? And he told me his take was, from the cabinet meeting he was in, was he's frustrated at the legal system, that it's taking so long to get shit done that they believe that they can 100% prove. And all these obstacles that are being thrown at them. I think that's why a lot of these judges are being removed and arrested. I mean, no one can deny it. Hell, even CNN had to admit that there was judges being arrested.
Yeah, that's right.
Even they're caught in a dilemma now, because it's happening. And do you remember? It was probably about 5 years ago, I shared with you two an audio that I had received where James Clapper was being interrogated by the Secret Service.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. If you go back, if you don't have it, I can resend it to you. But if you remember, inside that U.S. Secret Service interrogation audio, he named the current people that are in the process of I guess, to the public that are going to be indicted, and that's Jim Comey and Brennan. Because Jim Comey is the one who ordered all of those documents to be sent to the New York District Court to be put down in the vault. And I find it kind of ironic that his daughter was head of the prosecution against Diddy. That's another person that
Yeah.
people keep forgetting.
Yeah.
All of these things are
No,
all
there's a lot of people
intertwined.
that are frustrated that Diddy's getting off, or seems to be getting
Well,
off on most of it.
correct. But here, this is my take on it. And I have no facts to back it. I personally believe, is Diddy a dirtbag? Yeah, probably so. Is he guilty of what he did? Yeah, probably. But if you want things to go a certain way inside of the judicial system without lining pockets, what would you do? You would overcharge somebody. And if that certain somebody was offered a deal, say, hey, you make a deal, you won't spend the rest of your life in prison. You're going to do some time. You're probably going to have all your assets seized, 13848, and you are then going to work a deal. We're going to make a deal with the prosecutor that we're going to overcharge you on RICO. And they're not going to be able to come back. They're going to make it so outlandish that a jury, all they have to do is convince one person that, to throw a monkey wrench into it. And I think that's what they did. Diddy's, he may not spend the rest of his life in jail, but he's going to spend probably quite a bit of time and no assets to flip the script. And I think that's how a lot of this is going to play out in order to get, and for some stupid reason, why is Trump a Lindsey Graham fan all of a sudden?
I know. I was going to ask that tonight. What's going on with that? I can't. It makes no sense.
I can't even stand that guy.
I know, me either.
Just real quick, I want to let everybody know, Kathy H. did post the Epstein list, the unredacted one. It's on the Instagram channel. The mods have been dropping the link to Instagram if you guys want to go grab it if you haven't seen it yet. Some of you may have, some of you may haven't, but it's there on Instagram. And if you haven't subscribe to us or follow this over there on Facebook, we're rebuilding Facebook. We need like 13 people to subscribe to us or like us or whatever, follow us, and then we can go live on Facebook. I want to ask Jeff this question because I still am kind of on the fence about this, where here's my two scenarios, Jeff. One is Cash Patel, Dan Bongino were all guns a-blazing, ready to come in. They were going to clean this shit up. They told us that if there are guilty people, they're going to charge them. They're going to have their day in court, and we were going to see justice. The American people were going to finally see justice. And scenario one is they came in and they started seeing all this stuff. Maybe they got some phone calls, got some threats that said, hey, you continue down this path, and we're going to end your DNA. All of it, right, except for you, and you have to live the rest of your life knowing that because you were trying to prosecute these people, that you killed your entire family, cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone. Right. Or scenario two is this thing is so massive, and I guess it's a two-part question. It's so massive that as they're looking at all this stuff, like you said, the justice system is very slow. One, are they going to run out of time before Trump's term is up, or is it just so massive that they can't prosecute everybody? What's your thoughts on those two scenarios, Jeff?
Well, I think in retrospect, Cash Patel knows a lot. Okay, he was with Devin Nunes. Mm-hmm. He started the whole Russiagate probe. Okay. Dan Bongino, even though he was Secret Service presidential detail, even though he still probably had an active, inactive security clearance, he wasn't read on to anything. You know, because you could go back and listen to Bongino's statement basically before he was tapped as deputy director that they all need to go to prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why all of a sudden the change? And when that press conference happened, they looked like they seen a fucking ghost, and I think that was all by
Yeah.
design.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did.
I truly think that was all by design, and I believe that
Dan Bongino looked like he had his soul sucked out of him.
yes,
That's
Yes.
what I. That's
Well-
how I foreseen that whole first interview when they came on and said, "Well, I've seen suicides before. That's what it is." And Dan Bongino's suicide, and there's no list and all this shit. Like it looked like he had the life sucked right out of him, and that's what I'm saying. That's where when I picked up on that, I said, "Okay, they've either been talked to and had a phone call said we're ending you or your family or whatever, or it's so massive, so big." That they just can't take it on. I don't know. That's just
Well,
two of my perspectives.
I do think they probably have received threats. You know, my buddy, even before he was tapped, had received death threats. Okay,
Wow.
a couple of them I had shared with you, Mike, and I do believe it's bigger than I've been when we were still being called, well, we still are, crazy loons. I had told people that this thing is so big, and once that fire hose kicks in, people are going to melt down. And that crazy letter in the alphabet kept saying hot summer, nuclear winter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're getting close to the hot summer because I had told the big chair, hey, Donald Trump just started his July 4th year celebration. I don't feel very celebratory.
Right. Right.
Okay, I said, so what the hell is your boss doing? And, the amazing thing is his response is, you haven't even seen anything yet.
Is that why Trump?
That came from the big chair?
Huh?
That came from the big chair, that statement?
Yes.
Is that why Trump is now calling the United States hot? He said we were really cold,
Yes.
now we're hot. He keeps using that word to describe
Yes.
the United States and America.
That's my take. Absolutely. And did you hear the leaked audio that come out? I think it was from last year, prior to Trump winning, or maybe shortly after he won, where he told Putin, knock it off or we're bombing the shit out of Moscow. And then he told Xi, do not try Taiwan. If you do, we are going to blow the shit out of Beijing. And the Xi Jinping's response was, you can't be serious. And Trump said, try it. We will just level.
So was Iran just a test run, just to show them?
No, I think I truly believe, because remember, I had said 3 years ago that the clerics inside Iran put a fatwa on Trump. And now I was told last night that the clerics inside Iran are doing, get this, crowdfunding to take Trump out.
Oh, no.
They want to raise $40 million to take him out.
No.
Wow.
Right. So, when this story leaks out, all of a sudden, 3 agents who were on Trump's detail in Butler, PA, has been mysteriously suspended without pay from the director of the U.S. Secret Service, pending an investigation. And the story that they're using is that there were failed procedures. Well, guess what? Why are you picking these three guys and not the head lead agent and all of his guys? But you're just picking these three agents that you've suspended pending investigation. And then before that news come out, I was told that there was paperwork sent to Chuck Grassley. And you remember Chuck Grassley, harvesting the corn, all that other crazy nonsense.
This is crazy.
This is nuts. It's insanity.
Well, I knew I melded your guys' mind when I sent you that picture from the Situation Room. Because I thought Tammy was going to stroke out.
Close. I'm getting up there. It's about that time, my age. You can do that,
Right.
You got to be careful.
And he was... That individual was sitting right behind John Ratcliffe, who's the CIA director. So, there is... So, when they talked about the AI, right? The alien invasion. And, you had Lester Holt come out there and say, there's spaceships outside, our atmosphere. And it's an alien invasion. And I had told you, Mike, I said, once the AI card is played, I know what's next.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, and I still thought AI, they were talking about fucking motherships.
Yeah.
Well, now
Right?
right?
Yeah.
Well, now I think it's artificial intelligence.
That's crazy. Michelle said they've already raised $55 million.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just real quick. Last call. If anybody wants to call in tonight, 620-317-1776. Anybody wants to ask Jeff a question, give us your thoughts, your opinions on what's going on, what you think might be going on. All's welcome. 620-317-1776. Last call. Go ahead, Tammy.
Well, I was going to add to what we were talking about earlier with ICE and how ICE is coming up against all these people and so-called protesters, but protesters don't shoot at officials, right? And that's what was going on right before we went on in California, LA area. They had a whole big thing going on, an ICE issue going on with the illegals and trying to arrest people. They also just recently arrested an MS-13 kingpin. He's wanted for 5 different murders in El Salvador. So my thing is when Jeff said earlier about, maybe it is just a cover up for other things, but there is ICE stuff going on. I believe that too, because I don't believe that we understand the level of bad people that were allowed in here intentionally. No. And that are hiding. And there was somebody they just found, was it this guy? Yeah, it was this guy. He was hiding in Nebraska. So it's not like they're all in just one little spot. They're spread out all over. And when you see these people that are trying, including government officials that are calling for violence and to try to protect these illegals from ICE, it's insanity, and it's almost like a distraction from everything else going on. Good that we want to be able to celebrate. It's like they're always trying to put, take the air out of the party balloons, and how you can protect and want to protect these illegals, these criminals and sex traffickers is beyond my comprehension. But that is intensifying with the ICE officials as well, because, they're putting their lives on the line every single day. And I think, isn't Trump going against these sanctuary cities as well, saying, hey, if you get caught hiding illegals from ICE and stuff, you're going to jail.
And you lose funding.
Right.
And funding.
Here's how my crazy ass mind works. I'm gonna tell you what I think about what you just said, Tammy. And real quick, we're rolling up here on 70 minutes, just to let you guys both kind of know.
Oh yeah.
Here's how my crazy mind works. So the previous administration, total open border policy, let all these guys come in. They're not husbands, wives, and little children. Are there some of those? Sure. But a lot of them are fighting age men. Some of them, well, a lot of them are gang members, sex traffickers, human traffickers. Trump has talked about them emptying out their prisons with murderers and rapists and mentally ill people. So just think about this for just a minute. What did the last administration make all those people do? They made them do what? Download an app.
Yep.
To where they could contact them and say, hey, your court date is coming around the corner.
Correct.
But now that there's $55 million raised on Trump's head, think of this for a minute. All they have to do is go back on that app and say $55 million reward if you take out Trump, and send that out across their app to all these crazies that came to this fucking country, all the murderers, all the gang members, all the MS-13 people where we don't have any clue where they're at, a lot of them, and you send that out a mass text across that app. In this motherfucker, you get 55 million or whatever. Jesus. Just think about, that's how my crazy ass mind works. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I do think that's a possibility, but here's what I think they did. I think either DARPA or NSA, when all of this is going on, because I told you, remember the name Admiral Jolly Rogers, that this app that all these people coming across the border put on, if I was a betting man, I would say there was something written in that software to write something into the ROM of a cell phone to where now you can be tracked. This is why I think Monkey has been reporting all these ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance planes mysteriously in the mountain areas of the United States.
Yeah, you said that the other day just as I was heading to the mountains, and I was trying to get out of you. What mountains are you freaking talking about? All mountains? Rocky Mountains? The mountains in Idaho? The Blue Ridge Mountains? The Appalachian Mountains? Like, what fucking mountains are you talking about?
Right.
So I know what the hell is going on. And you didn't respond to me, so thanks, asshole.
So, because the elevation of Afghanistan, some parts of the Middle East.
The elevation of Afghanistan is very similar to the Rocky Mountains, which is in my backyard.
Correct. So I think that's why you're seeing all these ISR planes that Monkey's reporting. And, I don't know if anybody in your chat is part of Monkey's Patreon, but after Monday or Tuesday's show, I was in there and Monkey he didn't show the details of it, but he did show that he received a letter from the big chair and basically thanking him for contributing.
Wow.
So he was kind of thrown back. He sent me a text message and he goes, oh shit. He goes, so am I going to get burlap sack now?
Again?
Right.
He got in trouble
Black
before.
SUVs. Yeah, black SUVs.
Here we go. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is intense for sure. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Well, we're rolling up here on an hour and 15 minutes, so I don't know if you got more you want to talk about, Tammy or Jeff. If not, we can kind of start preparing ourselves for final thought. What say you, Tammy?
Well, I think we're pretty good, and I will say that I feel much better after having this show, and I know that I've been a mess in conversations because I've been so stressed out. And
I'm still Captain Skeptic.
I know you are, but it helps me because I'm very optimistic, and I can be very naive sometimes, to get to the truth and have hope and all that. But when you hear the details, like I said, and everybody shares what they know, that can give people a sense of piece, and I hope that that's what the show
I know
did
what
tonight.
you're going to be doing all weekend long. You're going to be looking at that list
I am.
that Kathy shared on Instagram.
And the gory
you're going to be going
detail.
through that with a fine tooth comb.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't believe this person's name's on the list.
Yes. But it was a really, I think, a good informational show tonight, and it relaxed me down. And we live in this. We pay a lot of attention to this. Kathy H, thank you. I'll call you. No, it's not that I really panic, but I lose faith, and I don't like losing faith, or I lose the hope. And I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. I can be real about things, and I can face the truth. But the thought of Trump not being who he says he was really knocked me for a loop. It really upset me. So that's all.
I like what Anna Banana says. God is in control. He won. That's where I put my faith. I don't put my faith in any man. I do trust Trump to a certain extent, but I try really hard not to put full trust in any man, because they can all be flawed. So, Captain Skeptic, I'm always going to question. I'm always going to ask. I'm always going to look at other perspectives and listen to other people, because I can't just be one-sided all the time about any of this stuff, because we've been hit off guard before. So let's roll into final thoughts. I'll let Jeff go first, so that if he wants to scoot out of here, he can. And I appreciate you reaching out to me, Jeff, and wanting to come on tonight. I think it's helped some people. It's helped Tammy for sure. We want to do a show tonight because there's so many angry people out there.
Oh yeah.
In America, and I don't blame them for being angry.
Nope.
I think they have a right to be angry. And what Trump had said the other day pissed me off too. He looked exhausted and frustrated, and I called Tammy, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And that's all that anybody's been talking about this whole week. So thanks for joining us tonight, Jeff. And what's your final thought?
Yep. So you can remember, Mike, when Trump first came in on his second term, and my buddy was tapped for the big chair, and he had called me, and there was one thing that I told him to tell your boss. He's got 6 months. I said, if something big doesn't happen within 6 months, the base is going to fracture. Now we're coming up on 6 months.
Oh yeah, fast.
Here in about 2-3 weeks. And when I text that to him last night, he said, don't worry, the next thing that you'll see is going to be massive. And I said, okay. I've been hearing that. Yeah, there's been some breadcrumbs dropped around, and that, and then he said something really odd that struck me as weird, is when he said, isn't it interesting how quick they got alligator Alcatraz set up?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, they did do that pretty quick. And he said, now start looking at the Air Force Base that's next to Alligator Alcatraz and start seeing where the flights are coming from.
Okay.
Nice.
They're not illegal. They're not illegal.
Maybe we should do a show a little more often so we can talk about that stuff. It's
already.
It's been too long and too many questions to ask.
This is the longest damn sequel of a series I've ever watched in my life.
It's horrible.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Don't forget this, Jeff. Jeff, before you peel out of here, remember when Trump came out about 3 months ago and said that he wanted to revamp Alcatraz?
Correct.
So my question is, did they decide not to revamp Alcatraz, and that's why they created Alligator Alcatraz, or are they going to revamp Alcatraz as well? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they're going to revamp Alcatraz. Now, and I've said this before, when has Trump said something so outlandish that we all thought he was crazy that came true? Pretty much all the time, right?
All the time.
Often.
So I think, along with Alligator Alcatraz, you're going to have Alcatraz, you're going to have a certain camp in Cuba and Terra Sierra. And I think you're going to see Iran hit again, because Trump is going to prove to the mullahs that he means business.
All right. We'll see.
All righty.
Thank you, Jeff.
Awesome.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
we'll see you.
All right. Well, Tammy, that just leaves you and me. Was glad to have Jeff join us tonight.
Yeah.
That was a nice little surprise. I know I sent him a thumbnail and some links, and he reached out to us and said, hey, send me a link to the show, and you sent that to him, so appreciate that. I didn't see some of that stuff. So thanks for being co-pilot and
No problemo.
keeping me in check here. What a great show tonight.
Yeah.
Again, we covered a lot of stuff and a lot of different opinions and stuff out there. So, it's okay to have lots of them. I don't think anybody truly knows what's going on. We just do our best here. So I'm going to let you go ahead and give your final thought, and then I'll give mine, Tammy.
Well, just a little reminder for everybody, if you could please go to LWN Network on Facebook and hit subscribe, share it. We're at 94 people now. We need 100 to go live. So those of you who prefer Facebook with our new page, we just need some help sharing it and spreading it and subscribing to it. So we do appreciate it. And it was a great night. Even though I'm in it and I research day in, day out, even if I'm doing other things, I'll still scroll on my phone while I'm standing in line or something, and I don't completely usually detach. I did over the 4th of July a little bit, but being in the community like this really does help me as well, educate me, encourage me, and give me some more energy because, boy, I was running low. So I just am really appreciated that, and it was great to be able to go on tonight, and everything worked well, and it was a great conversation. So I hope that everybody felt good with the show tonight as well. That's my final thought.
Thank you, Tammy. If you guys can help us out over there on Facebook, the wonderful, wonderful mods that we have, and we have quite a few of them, they've dropped the link there in Rumble and the X and YouTube as well. I think we need 6 more likes. If we can get 6 more likes over there on Facebook, we'll be able to go live again. And we lost, due to hacking, we lost our big Facebook channel with 15,000 subscribers or 15,000 followers, and that's no longer exists. So we're starting all over again on Facebook. So not only by you liking the page does it help us, but if you can also share that out on your Facebook, maybe that'll help other people find us as well. So thanks for doing that. This is the 2 things that I want to leave our audience with. I trust no man, but I do have faith and trust in God, and I do believe that God has his hand on Donald Trump. I have believed that for a very long time. I think it's very evident. I think it's been proven over and over and over again, especially with Butler, Pennsylvania. That was a hand of God. And the second thing that I trust in is Anderson Firearms. I trust in that too. And I have invested time. I've invested money. I would encourage each and every one of you to always be prepped and prepared for the unthinkable, the unpredictable. That could be as much as, bad weather conditions, financial collapse, invasion, power grid going down, EMP. It could be a matter of a lot of different things. And when we talk about prepping, Tammy, even in Texas, there's just some things you can't prep against. And some of those people, if they would have been prepped and stuff, all that prepping would have been washed away, right, with the flood. But I still believe in prepping because some of those neighbors are prepped, and even though their neighbors got washed away and lost everything, their prepping can actually help their neighbors out by giving those preps to the families so that they can eat and have things that they need. So even though a lot of people feel like, well, if a natural disaster happens and wipes me out, what good's my prepping? Well, if it doesn't wipe you out, but it wipes your neighbor out, you can help your neighbor, and I believe in that. So thanks for joining us tonight. It has been a pleasure doing this show again, and thank you to the producer behind the scenes for showing up tonight. I know the last couple of shows we needed help, and they were here tonight to fix some of the technical difficulties. Thank you to, I want to say a personal thank you to Kathy H. for calling in tonight, and my brother, as always, John Esterbrooks, for calling in. Love those call-ins, so don't be afraid to call in next time you see that number up on the screen. Tammy, any last words?
Nope, that's it. You covered it well. It's been a great night, and I can sleep well tonight.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll go ahead and just hit the kill switch, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.